This episode is brought to you in part by Vector Travel. Visit bookings.vectorstays.com and enter the code NYY Recaps at checkout to get 10% off your next stay. Hey! How's it going, everybody? How's it going, Yankees YouTube? Hey, everyone. I'm going to do a little roll call here. Hey, T-Bird. Hey, Lori. What's going on? Oof. All right, so the Yankees won today, 7-4 over the Tigers. I know nobody cares. I know nobody cares about spring training games. I know most of you that follow me also follow Patrick's podcast. He did a really funny podcast. I think it was just called, like, Who Cares About Spring Training or something, and it was really, really funny. But the Yankees did win today. Something of note, Clint Frazier. I know a lot of you are psyched about how Clint Frazier is going to do this year. 3 for 3 with a home run and 2 RBIs. I put a note to myself to do a sound effect there. So Frazier swinging the bat well today. Mike Tauchman, who's fighting for that last roster spot, which we'll get to in a minute. I've got a few segments today. Mike Tauchman 1 for 3 with a 2-run home run. Garrett Cole started today, 3 2/3, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts. He did give up 2 home runs. What's been interesting about Garrett Cole in spring training is he has trouble at Lakeland Park, which is where the Tigers play. You might remember last year, Miguel Cabrera, before they shut down spring training, hit one over the batter's eye off of Garrett Cole. And I think he gave up, 2 or 3 home runs in one game, and everybody was panicking and all that stuff. But Lakeland is notoriously windy, so 2 home runs off of Garrett Cole, not too worried about that. Jonathan Loizaga, Johnny Lasagna, everybody. 2 1/3 scoreless innings pitched. He has a 0 ERA this spring. So he's been just swinging. Just pitching. Slinging. I meant to say slinging, but I said swinging. And so I tried to cover up for it, but I messed up and I forgot that these are recorded. He's been just slinging the baseball. And Kyle Higashioka, as was mentioned in the chat before we went live, is out with an injury. It sounds like he's just got a sore side, just like a minor soreness, and they're not concerned about it, nothing about an MRI, which tells me it was probably just like a bruise or something. As a catcher, sometimes you take foul balls that miss your gear, or you have to stretch in a funny way to tag a guy. Catching is a tough position, and so those guys get, nicked up all the time. So I'm not concerned, although, we are down to 2 catchers. We've got Kyle Higashioka and Rob Brantley, who's been just crushing the ball, hitting .429 this spring. Johnny Lasagna! Okay, so since there is no televised games until Monday, in this episode, I'm going to go over a few different things. I'm going to talk about the final roster spot. I've got 3 segments I want to play. I've got a little bit of an injury report. Some of you are familiar with that from last season. I'm bringing that back. And then a little segment about the number 5 battle, which at this point looks to me like it's pretty much over. Even though both guys are pitching great, Domingo Germán is, head and shoulders above Davy Garcia at this point. Also, LeBron James bought ownership into the Red Sox. What is that about? What is that?
It's awful.
I thought he was a Yankees fan. You remember when the Cavaliers were in the playoffs and the Yankees were playing the Indians, and there was all this grief over whose hat LeBron would wear because he said he was going to wear a Yankees hat? He said he was a Yankees fan and he would never go against that. I get it. It's a business decision, but come on, some lines you just don't cross. Ridiculous. So here's a few things that I am working on while there's no televised games. I'm on the recommendation of this group here, 4 seasons now into Parks and Recreation. I love this show. I'm addicted. And somebody recommended this because they said that my attitude on my perfect vacation of being alone in the forest with my thoughts was like, it reminded them of Ron Swanson, and going to Alaska or whatever. I haven't gotten to that part yet, but I can see it now. And I got to say, I'm just a humongous fan of Parks and Rec. It is just an outstanding, outstanding move. Dennis says he is a Yankees fan. It's a business. I get it. It's a business move. But, maybe buy into a different. There's plenty of teams that you could buy into. Do you really need to buy into the Red Sox? I mean, that's some lines just shouldn't be crossed. How much more money does he need? I mean, he's LeBron James. He's not some plebeian like me. He's LeBron James. He's got plenty of money. I am on season 4 of Parks and Rec, and it's just fantastic. Also, I just watched I Got a Story to Tell by, it's on Netflix. It's about the Notorious B.I.G., and it was fantastic. If you grew up in the 90s, like I did, right around that 95, 96, and even into 97, those seasons where the Yankees were winning, they didn't win it all in 97, but they were pretty good. I think they won 96 games. But 96, they won the World Series. Right around that time, the sound of New York was Notorious B.I.G. And when you watch one of my videos here in just a minute about the final roster spot, Didi says he should have bought the Athletics. You'll hear the theme song from Party and Bullshit. Try not to cuss too much on this, but it's one of my favorite Biggie songs. So definitely check that out. Justice League Snyder Cut comes out Thursday night. I'll be watching that and doing a podcast on my other channel, Streamski. If you go to my channel and you just look at like the linked channels, if you go all the way to the bottom of the page, or you just type in Streamski, STREAMSKI, it's it's my other channel, and I talk movies and stuff. I'm doing a couple of book reports right now. I just read a book called After by Dr. Bruce Grayson. It's about near-death experiences. And I'm reading 12 Rules for Life. Or actually, it's called Beyond Order, 12 More Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. I already reviewed 12 Rules for Life on there. So really good books, I got to say. Fantastic. So yeah, I'll be on there talking with Justin Parisi. He's the host of the Tech on Tap podcast. So we'll be talking about our thoughts on Justice League. Brave Reputation says favorite current Yankee. It's got to be Aaron Judge. No question. But my favorite Yankees name to say is Johnny Lasagna. All right, let's get to the first segment. We're going to do 3 segments in a row, and then I'll hop back on to talk about spring training stats. Let's go! Well, the Yankees have 4 bench spots this season. One of them is definitely going to backup catcher Kyle Higashioka, especially now that Robinson Chirinos is on the injured list. One of them is definitely going to Yankees veteran and fan favorite Brett Gardner, and that leaves just 2 spots. And you'd assume that Tyler Wade, given his flexibility and ability to play multiple infield and outfield positions, will earn him a spot. He's also pretty cheap. His job is basically just to stay healthy and give guys a day off once in a while and to not do anything boneheaded on the field. So you can live with his .575 career OPS. I'm okay with that. The final spot appears to be coming down to 3 choices. The first is Jay Bruce. He's an outfielder who can also play first base, provide a little bit of pop off the bench. He's got some good opposite field power, and he's a much better outfielder than I originally gave him credit for. He's hitting exactly .300. He's 6 for 20 with 2 home runs and a 1.014 OPS. Now, you can't read too much into spring stats, but when guys are competing for a position, it does make sense to look at performance because you got to pick whoever's playing the best. Then there's Derek Dietrich, a lefty with some pop who can play the infield and the outfield, but has never played shortstop in his career. You can make the argument that if Gio Urshela is willing and able to play shortstop in a pinch, then you could keep Dietrich around. And given the shift being a major strategy of the Yankees, we know they are not opposed to putting guys all over the diamond. The fact, though, that Dietrich is just 1 for 13 this spring does not help his cause, even if that 1 was a homer. The last option would be Mike Tauchman, who has a slight advantage defensively in my position because he can play center field, and that's a much more valuable position than backup first base, which is what Jay Bruce does, although Mike Tauchman has also said that he will take reps at first base. He set the world on fire in 2019, but he was playing hurt in 2020 and has admitted that his swing was out of whack. Brian Cashman has said he's gotten lots of calls about Mike Tauchman. If I had to make a prediction right now, I'd say that it will come down to Bruce and Tauchman for the final 2 spots. I do think it's interesting that Gio Urshela has been taking more reps at shortstop today. That suggests to me that the Yankees may be considering holding on to Derek Dietrich despite his lack of offense, using Gio Urshela as the backup shortstop, and then keeping both Jay Bruce as a backup first baseman / corner outfielder and Mike Tauchman as another outfielder. Miguel Andujar is hurt, so he is probably out of the running. Let me know in the chat who you think should be the final roster pieces.
Zach Britton had successful surgery to remove a bone chip from his elbow. Reports vary on how long he will be out, but the most common expectation seems to be that Zach will be back in pinstripes by sometime in June. Robinson Chirinos is going to miss a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks. He suffered a hand fracture after being hit by a pitch. This likely means Kyle Higashioka, who is also currently day-to-day with a minor injury, will be the backup catcher, but keep your eye on veteran catcher Rob Brantley. Miguel Andujar is suffering from a muscle strain in the wrist. He's going to be shut down for a while and will not be ready for opening day. Jacoby Ellsbury is no longer with the Yankees, but reports are that he's finally out of the hospital after stubbing his toe on the coffee table 3 years ago. This has been your Yankees injury report from NYY Recaps.
The battle for the number 5 spot in the rotation was one of the most interesting battles coming into camp, and it's gone so well so far that the Yankees might need to consider even going with a 6-man rotation. I don't know if they're going to do that or not, but it might be a way to keep guys like Corey Kluber and Jameson Taillon, who are coming back from injuries, a little bit more healthy. The Angels are doing a 6-man rotation to accommodate for Shohei Ohtani, so it's not unheard of. But so far, Deivi Garcia, 8 innings, 10 strikeouts, 2 walks, 2.25 ERA. He's pitched really, really well. But Domingo Germán, is just unbelievable this year. 9 innings, no runs, 13 strikeouts, 1 walk. He's been basically unhittable. His curveball was really sharp last time out. We hadn't seen it that sharp yet this spring. He looked like he was working on it and looked like he found it pretty early on in the game. His changeup's been incredible. His fastball's been spot on. Both of these guys look really, really good. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed those little segments. I had fun putting those together today at lunchtime. I shifted my chair a little bit because I was out of frame a little bit. It was fun watching people in the comments. I'm like maybe 30 seconds behind the comments because of my software, and you guys are like 30 seconds behind me. So it was funny watching people react to the voiceover. Yes. So when I do the injury report, I always try and use like a robotic AI voice and just try and add in a few jokes and just kind of make it fun. It's a way to put the information out there, to get the information out that is, somewhat different than just hearing me blather on. I'm in marketing. I've been in marketing since 2005. So a long, long time I've been in marketing. I consider myself pretty good. And one of the things they teach you in marketing is pattern changing. When you're doing videos, just changing it up a little bit. So every once in a while when I do a segment, I'll have a voiceover. You might notice that I did one with like a British guy that I call Arthur Ghost. But it's, it's fun. This is art to me. Look, I don't own a big media conglomerate. I'm just one guy on a computer. And to me, sometimes it saves a little time if I want to put in a voiceover for a segment. That way I don't have to record it and mix it down. So it's a way for me to do a little bit of art and to get, some messaging out there and give you guys some entertainment without having to spend an enormous amount of time on it. Jacoby Ellsbury. I can't stand Ellsbury. He got paid so much money. I have no idea what his injuries were over the past few years. It was like he was rehabbing and he had some soreness and then he was out 3 months. And then it was like he came back and then all of a sudden he was tightening up and he was out another 2-3 months. And it was just, he was constantly injured. Denzel Thomas says, World Series, Padres versus Yankees. This is the 3rd or 4th time you've asked me this. I would love that as a World Series matchup. I'm not going to be honest. I am going to be honest with you. I don't want to face the Dodgers. The Dodgers scare me a little bit. Mookie Betts is such a dynamic player, dynamic difference maker. I get that Tatis could be that guy for the Padres. And we all know Machado kills the Yankees, and there's a really good pitching staff over there on that Padres team. But I think it's going to be one of those two in the World Series for the National League. And it's either going to be the Yankees or the White Sox, I think, out of the American League. So I really think that would be a really, really good matchup. Oh, Lori says she just bought a NYY Recaps t-shirt. I'm not sure why I didn't get an alert from my widgets. I should have a little pop-up, but I appreciate that. I will be coming to Yankee Stadium at least once or twice this year. I live in North Carolina, so whenever I need a break, with my carpal tunnel or whatever, and I want to just take a couple of days, I'll probably just drive on up to New York and go to a game, and I'll try and wear my NYY Recaps. I'm actually wearing one. Hang on. I'll wear that if I come to the game so you guys can spot me, look for me. But yes, Lori, thank you so much. That is, we're going to do the air horn. All right, guys, so we're about 16 minutes in. I wanted to take a look at the stats. Oh. I see that my camera went out. Sorry. Sorry about that. I'm running on a Canon M50 or whatever, and I forgot that every 30 minutes the live stream function kind of cuts out. So I just had to fix that. Yeah, so when I do a stream, usually if I go to one of those segments, I'll reset the camera, but I just forgot this time because I was so focused on the comments from you guys. All right, so let's take a look at the Yankees stats for 2021 in spring. Let's start with the pitching stats. Everybody knows about Domingo Germán. He's just been filthy. To me, the thing about Domingo Germán has been the changeup. His changeup is light years. Oh, there we go. Hey, appreciate it, Matt. We got a super chat here. Let me see what it was. Hang on. I don't see it in the thing.
Hello.
DHG, would you go ahead and post any super chats? Just relay them so I can look for them in the chat, and I'll try and answer them when I get to the audience segment later on. So just kind of keep them to the side there. Domingo Germán, 9 innings, no runs, 5 hits, 1 walk. That's the key.
Hello.
1 walk. 13 strikeouts. Man, we're getting a lot of donations. I appreciate it from everybody. Michael King, he's pitched 9 innings. I think they're trying to get that sinker into a good groove. Giving up 4 runs. To me, look, I know a lot of people really like Michael King.
Hello.
And I try and be as positive. I'm going to turn off widgets just for a bit. I try and be as positive as possible. But I just don't believe in Michael King very much. And I'm sorry I know there's some Yankees players who watch this, but if I'm going to do this, and if I'm going to be a quote-unquote journalist, even if I'm just kind of vlogging and giving my opinions, I'm not writing for any major papers or anything like that. I don't have to necessarily follow the journalistic ethics, but I'm going to try to and be honest with you guys. I don't believe in Michael King. I know the Yankees want him to succeed because sinker ballers are fun, because they can give you 2 to 3 innings and keep the ball on the ground and in the ballpark and eat up a lot of valuable innings. Ramiro Mendoza is a good example. Chen-Ming Wong. These are Yankees legends. I mean, is Mendoza a legend? I don't know, but he's been to Old Timers Day, right? So he's at least that well known. Michael King leaves the ball up way, way too much. Way too much. And it's just going to get him hurt. He's just going to give up too many hits. He hits too many bats. Jonathan Loaizaga, 8 1/3. Now, I don't know if this counts today because he pitched 2 1/3 today. No runs. So he's been really sharp. And then Davey Garcia, who's going for that number 5 spot. He's been really sharp. Garrett Cole, obviously very sharp. Nick Nelson, definitely making a case for that bullpen. 0.63 whip. No runs allowed. He's got to be considered a favorite for the bullpen right now. Let's skip down to number 10 on the screen there. Lucas Litke, 5 innings, 11 strikeouts, no runs. Where did this guy come from? Is he the real Martian? Where did he come from? He hasn't pitched in the major league since 2015. And somebody said, and I agree with this, maybe we should pump the brakes a little bit on Lucas Litke. Maybe we should. But he passes the eye test. Let me tell you that. He's got a great curveball. He's had good command so far, and his command has always been an issue. But so far, just 1 walk to 11 strikeouts. You can get by with an 11-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Jordan Montgomery's thrown pretty well this spring. Let's see. As we get down near the bottom, we see Adam Warren really hasn't pitched that much, 3 innings. You would expect a relief pitcher who's trying to make the team to have pitched more. That tells me that they're not loving what they're seeing from Adam Warren. Let's take a look at the hitting stats. All right, so we're going to go with most at-bats. And I see that this is updated for today. Clint Frazier has the most at-bats on the team, 23 at-bats. He's got 2 home runs. He's hitting .304. On Wednesday night, tomorrow night, I'm going to be doing a 643 DP live with Patrick, and we're going to do our predictions, player by player, for the offense. And we both had pretty similar predictions for Clint Frazier, and they're pretty good. They're pretty freaking good. DJ LeMahieu, the machine, hitting .348. What else is new? Aaron Judge off to a slow start. No home runs, no RBIs, 2 doubles. It looked to me like he's been experimenting with his stance a little bit. It looked in the beginning like his stance was a little bit more open, and then the last time I saw him, it wasn't quite the same. I've seen him have some bigger leg kicks, some shorter leg kicks. I feel like he's trying some things, and he knows how many bats it takes to really try and get ready. So I think over the last 4 or 5 games, when he's going to be getting 3 to 4 at bats a game, I think you're going to see Aaron Judge heat up, because I think he's going to lock into a style that he feels comfortable with, and I think it's going to look a lot like the style he had last year. I do kind of want him to get into more of a crouch if it's possible. And I mean, who am I to give hitting instructions to Aaron Judge? But as someone who's coached a lot and someone who takes the problem-solving approach, he gets a lot of low pitches called on him. And I think that if the heart of his zone, if his happy zone was a little bit closer to where he's getting those low strikes called, I think pitchers might be a little bit more nervous going there. A little bit more nervous. Gary Sanchez mashing this spring. 286, 3 home runs, 4 RBIs. No doubles, so it's pretty much home run or single. 3 homers, 3 singles. 7 strikeouts. Tyler Wade has struck out 10 times in 21 at-bats. He might be... Look, I don't think they're going to let go of Tyler Wade, especially since Derek Dietrich isn't really crushing the ball. But if they decided to go with Derek Dietrich and then just have Gio Urshela play shortstop, which, what's the point of having Gio Urshela play shortstop today if you're not taking a look at that possibility? They've got to be looking at that. Tyler Wade cannot hit. He can run a little bit, and you can move him around the field, but, you know, is it worth it to have just a designated give a guy a day off day? Can they not do better than that? Can they not do better than that by having Dietrich, Bruce, and Tauchman on the roster? You can play Bruce over there at first base. You can play Dietrich at first base or third base or second base. And then you can play Urshela at shortstop. You can play, if you wanted to, you could just, have the shift on and put Gio at shortstop when there's a possibility of a ball being hit to shortstop, right? I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can go. Brett Gardner off to a pretty good start, 294, 1 home run, 6 RBIs. Giancarlo Stanton, the numbers are pretty good. 294, 1 home run, 5 RBIs, couple of doubles. What's been impressing me is the exit velocity. The exit velocity is tremendous, once again, as it always is for Giancarlo Stanton. Oswald Peraza optioned to camp, but he impressed me a lot with his defense, and I actually didn't think his swing was as bad as people have said it was. So, hey, it's spring training. You can't read too much into the stats, but those are the stats, baby. All right, let's get to the audience questions. Hi! I actually didn't mean to have that sound effect play. Usually it just plays on my normal videos, but I accidentally dragged it into this template, and so I left it. And it, whenever the loop starts over of the highlights up here, it'll play again. And you get that little one note of "My name is" from Eminem. All right. If we need speed late in the game, we have Brett. Why do we need Wade? Well, I mean, that's one way to look at it, but you could also say that if Brett Gardner's already in the game, say Brett Gardner's given somebody the day off and you need another runner off the bench. But really, that's not the Yankees game. They're not going to beat you with speed. If you're ever in a situation where you need to win with speed, the Yankees are going to be swinging for the fences. They're going to be trying to score a run the old-fashioned way. If you're one swing away, that's what the Yankees try and do. And Wade, he's not going to be the number 1 prospect for a year or two. He's actually, I think, number 37 on the list, and he's actually 18 years old. And it's He's actually got 2 S's. Jason. Could Blake Snell be a Cy Young candidate? Denzel seems to be asking a lot of questions about the Padres. I don't follow the Padres that much. I don't think Blake Snell is that great. I think Blake Snell has trouble against teams that take a lot of pitches and work the count. And he's also a little bit home run prone when he faces the Yankees. That's just my impression anyway. I could be completely wrong about that. I don't follow the Padres. Do you think Herman deserves to be the number 5 starter? So I'd had a little segment earlier on in the broadcast where I said that basically he does. In fact, I think Herman at this point could probably be the number 2 or 3 starter. Look, who's pitched better than Domingo Herman this spring? If you want to just go by the merits of who's pitched the best, Domingo Herman has pitched the best of anybody not named Garrett Cole. Plain and simple. I think right now, I mean, if you're just going by results-based rotation, you're going Garrett Cole, Domingo Herman, I'd probably go with Jameson Taillon, Corey Kluber, and then probably Davy Garcia. I mean, and then Montgomery would be, and I love Montgomery, but he would be out if you're just going based on spring stats. But that's not what the Yankees are going to do. They're going to go Garrett Cole. They're going to go probably Corey Kluber, and then probably Jordan Montgomery. And then number 4 will be Taillon, and then number 5 will be probably Domingo Herman. That would be my guess. Koufax or Kershaw from Esky. Esky reminds me of Ansky. There was an old Yankees commercial that had these guys, these drunk guys in the bleachers at Yankee Stadium, and they had Yanks painted on their chest, but they were sitting all out of order, so it said Ansky. But I'm a big Koufax guy, but he didn't have the longevity, right?
Hello.
Hey, thanks. Super chat. Appreciate that. Thoughts on Jay Bruce making the roster? Right now, you got to look at him as a possible front runner, but I like Tauchman too because Tauchman plays center field, and Tauchman is a really good defender, and Tauchman can hit a little bit. He hit a home run today. Excellent. I think if all things are easy, and I keep getting these, this is crazy. I don't think people are doing it because I'm not seeing them in the chat. I think it's a bug. I think these are past ones that are excellent. Having a widget issue here. THG says, viewers, get those lights up. So yeah, I lost my train of thought because of all the widget sounds. I'm going to cancel that. It's just really annoying to have that popping up all the time. I know it makes the stream more interesting to watch, but it's really, really annoying to me. That's why I have a mod to let me know when people are super chatting. But yeah, nowadays that drunk commercial would never be allowed. You're completely right. Edwin NG says, what do you think of a 6-man rotation? I actually pondered that idea in the video. I need more water. That's not a crazy idea, especially when you got 2 guys coming back from injuries, right? You got Corey Kluber and you got Jameson Taillon coming back from injuries. And then you got a guy coming back from 2 years of not having pitched, basically. So, hey, look, I'm for it. If the Yankees went with a 6-man rotation, I think that analytically you could say that's not the best way to have your pitching roster constructed, but I would dig it. I would dig the 6-man rotation. Okay, so here's the situation with the Streamlabs. There haven't been many new super chats as of now, but Streamlabs has been glitching out for several streamers where it's just cycling through old donations. That makes sense. Thank you for that. That's why you're the best mod in the world, man. Best mod in the world. All right, so 2 questions coming up. Don't let me forget about Borg's question about Rob Brantley. But do you think Giancarlo Stanton could play some outfield this year or maybe in the postseason? It sounds like the Yankees want to get him some time in the outfield, but I think it's worth noting that he hasn't played the outfield in spring. I think it's more important for them to get him as many at-bats as possible. Let him play the outfield in warm-ups when you don't need to really stress yourself, right? Let him get into the fielding rhythm that way. And then when the game comes around, just stay loose, swing the bat, take your 4 at-bats, hit the ball hard a few times. I want him swinging the bat. I don't care about what he's doing in the field. Thoughts on Rob Brantley? So Rob Brantley is a veteran. He's played with a few different teams. I like his swing. I don't know much about him. I haven't seen him play much other than with the Yankees. I like his swing, though. And these veteran catchers, they always seem to hang on. You remember Eric Kratz playing when he was 40-something. So even if he doesn't make the roster, don't be surprised if the Yankees keep him around in AAA. They don't have a lot of lefty bats. So this way, if you need to go to a third catcher, you have that option of a lefty bat. And somebody said in the chat the other day that his swing looked like Don Mattingly. That's just because he's got a sweet left-handed swing. He's nowhere near the hitter that Don Mattingly was, but I could see it. He's got a really sweet swing. I know it's early, but you see the Yankees making a big splash type of trade in August. Really depends on where the season is. If the Yankees are 2 or 3 games out and they're underperforming, then yeah, I could see that happening. If you have injuries to the rotation, to Corey Kluber, to Jameson Taillon, if Sevy can't return, something like that, then maybe. But I just don't think so. I just don't see the Yankees taking on the money. I think they want to stay under the salary luxury tax threshold, and I just don't see it happening. Can I have a bruh sound every time I say something? I don't think I have a bruh sound. How about this? How about the clown horn? How's that? I give that to, there's some kid post just the dumbest opinions, and so I clown him every time. What's the Luis Severino situation look like? I'm glad you brought that up, Eric. Luis Severino actually pitched really, really well off of the mound his first time out. He threw 20 pitches, all fastballs, and apparently he was throwing nearly 100 miles an hour from what we've seen. And pitching coach Mike Harkey, bullpen coach actually, not pitching coach, bullpen coach, said that he's seen a lot of guys come back from Tommy John, and Luis Severino is among the best he's ever seen in his first bullpen back, especially when it comes to like his confidence in throwing the ball. When you have surgery, it can take you a while to feel comfortable trusting the area of the body you had surgery on. And guys can be tentative. But Luis Severino showed no fear. He doesn't strike me as the type of guy who has any kind of fear. So, everything I've heard is that he sounds good. He could be back in June or July. I was thinking it could be August, but it sounds like it might be July now. Amy Gandolfi says, sim. Yes, we are all in a simulation. Look, nothing matters because we're all in a giant simulation. If you guys watched that video the other day where I reacted to Zach Britton's injury and I zoomed out, I actually didn't finish the animation as far as I wanted to go. I kind of zoomed from a house, it wasn't my house, to like the city, to Earth, to the solar system, to the galaxy. And I was going to zoom out one more and go to like the galaxy on a computer simulation in a UFO full of aliens. And I just didn't have the stock footage or the time to, I could have done it. And I might do it. If Judge gets hurt, you're going to see that shit. We need to get you on Yes. Some of their shows kind of stink compared to yours. Okay, Ryan, full disclosure. And if anybody from Yes Network is watching this on my recommendation, I actually emailed Yes yesterday. They had this thing about the Yes app, like send me your subscription or send me what you want for the Yes app. And so I emailed them and I introduced myself and said, hi, my name is Derek Levandowski. I'm just one guy who does a podcast. I have not much to offer you, but I do have a podcast that is focused on short, digestible Yankees news, occasional live streams after baseball games, high production quality. I'm not like the biggest superstar in the world, but, we'd have a following of 10,500. We're growing by about 2,000 per month, roughly. And by the end of the season, we're going to have about 25,000, hopefully, if not more. And I said, I would love to make my content on YouTube available at no cost to you on the Yes app. I would love to make it available. So all they have to do is reach out to me and make some kind of a business contact, and we'll have it on the Yes app. I asked them, they probably won't do it. There's probably some kind of YouTube rule. I don't know. But as far as I know, and I might have to change some things about, what sounds I play. And, I swear occasionally, but I don't swear as much as some other podcasters. I try not to swear too much, mostly because it makes my mom angry. I wrote to them and I said, hey, look, put me on. And if anybody out there from the Yes Network is watching, I would love to come on. I've been trying. I emailed through Cameo. I emailed Brian Cashman to try and come on the show. He didn't respond, though he did text back last year one time. And I emailed Meredith Morakovich to try and come on the show, and she didn't come on. I got to start getting Los Baseball, Carlos Collado, to book my interviews for me, because he interviews everybody, right? I think my bread and butter is not going to end up being interviews and long form discussion. I think it's this. Sometimes it takes you a while to find yourself. When I first started, I was doing basically just short chats about baseball, no production value at all. But as more people came, I said, I want to make the experience better for the people who come. And so I started, adding these graphics, like these reels that you see now. And I tried to create something that's a unique experience. And so, I have no desire to be as big as somebody like a John Boy. To me, John Boy is the GOAT. I've got no desire to get to that level. What I want to do, and my ultimate goal, is to just be able to earn a living doing this full time. And that's just kind of my end goal. If I could earn a living where I get on here and talk Yankees and turn watching Yankees games, which is my favorite thing to do in life, into a job, into a career, that would be my ultimate goal. So we'll see. Yeah, THG says Los Baseball is great at getting interviews somehow. I texted him. I said, how do you do this? And he's just like, I email them, and they say yes. I email everybody. I emailed Jack Curry. Jack Curry said no. I did get Brian Hoke, and Brian Hoke said he's going to come back on when he's promoting his book that's coming out later this summer. A lot of these requests that I made, though, were when I was much smaller, when I was, 4,000 to 5,000. Once I get to like 15, 20,000 in a few months, I'm going to have just such a reach where it's like a million views per month. Right now I'm getting like 350,000 views per month. But once it gets to be like a million views per month, these baseball newsmakers and athletes are going to have no choice but to consider me a legitimate offer of this, of Yankees news on this platform. I don't care if I am just one guy and I don't have corporate sponsorship. I can build an audience, right? THG says, and look, let's get off topic. Why not? Let's get off topic. I might have to reset my camera again. Let's see. So, do you believe in the Mandela effect? So, for anybody who doesn't know, the Mandela effect, the Mandela effect spawned from, I want to say it was the 80s, or maybe it was the 70s. Certain people remembered Nelson Mandela, who became a civil rights hero, dying in prison, right? And some people remembered him getting out and becoming president of his country, which is what happened in the reality that we live in. But some people remember it a different way. And then that led to all these discussions of people remembering different things different way. Yankees Highlight says, are you going to stream on opening day? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you think Sanchez will start? I think he might. Alexander says, sup. All right, so let's get back to the Mandela effect. Guys, if you're just arriving, sorry, but we got off the topic of baseball. We did baseball for like 35 minutes. Now we're talking about the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect, now, like if you think about the Berenstain Bears, it's actually the Berenstain Bears. And if you go look at, like, if you just Google Mandela effect, people remember things in different ways. And some people think it's because that you slip in and out of dimensions somehow. And some people change dimensions. I am a believer in it. But I'm also a believer that the human mind and memory is flawed. So, I don't know what to think about it. Yankees or Dodgers? Right now, I'd have to say draw. They're both really, really good. That's going to be decided by injuries and like, if they both met up in the World Series, whichever team is healthier at that moment. But the Dodgers probably have better pitching. The Yankees, I think, have a really good offense. Although the Dodgers do have a pretty damn good offense, to be honest. Let's see. Have you seen any footage of Jason Dominguez playing defense? Yes, I have. And he looks good. I've only seen footage of him taking flies at like scouting and like sort of like tryout type of events from when he was 15, 16. I haven't seen him recently. Look, that's one of the things I'm most looking forward to about the 2021 season. I almost said 2020. But is seeing Jason Dominguez against actual competition, because all we've seen are clips from side sessions, things like that. So, gotcha. I swore Jaws' girlfriend in Moonraker had braces, and yet in the movie she never had braces. I've had my own things like that. The other day, my wife had one of those glitch in the Matrix things where she was getting ready to cross the street, and she looked and there was no car coming, and then she stepped out in the street and a car almost hit her. A car was like, crazy. All right, guys, so we just did 40 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. We got a little bit off the rails. I appreciate everybody who joined. If you are not subscribed, please go ahead and give this a like and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Oh, Borg says, where can you find the Jason defensive footage? Just Google Jason Dominguez and sort by like oldest, because some of his earliest videos out there are him just like tryouts. Erickson says, Derek, do you have Instagram? I do, but I keep it private just to like my family and friends. I'm not a social media guy. That's not my thing. I like to keep my personal life private. I don't need it out there for the world, so I don't give that out, and I don't accept random friend requests on Instagram. But appreciate it. Thanks to everybody. Great stream. Have a good night. Bye. All that stuff. Appreciate it. Love you all. See you next time.